Brought to you by Station House Coffee and Ting.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Groundhog Day! I've been revisiting a lot of classic movies that have been important to me, stuff that I grew up watching. This movie being one of them, Groundhog Day, came out in 1993. I was 12, so probably watched it on TV and then got the VHS tape or maybe recorded it off of VHS. I don't know. But it's one of those movies that in my teen years and then even growing up, just a movie that I would revisit many, many times. Bill Murray, of course, being one of the greats. Of course, Harold Ramis, another great. The late, great Harold Ramis directed it. Bill Murray starring, along with Andy McDowell, who's amazing as well. And a movie that I was actually surprised. Like, it's one of the few movies that I watched growing up where I didn't know everybody else was watching it, so I was surprised when other people, it was one of their favorite movies also. And it had been a while since I've watched this movie, so it was fun to revisit. It was the topic of discussion on a recent episode of This Is Important to Me, which is a great podcast if you like movies. So I wanted to watch it. It's very much similar to a lot of people's lives these days with the quarantine and the pandemic going on. A lot of people not working, waking up at home, doing the same kind of thing every day. I'm lucky enough to be able to work on a lot of projects while I'm home, so I'm able to break up the monotony. I really don't know. I would be going crazy if I didn't do podcasts and make artwork and Photoshops and all this stuff. Go buy merch over inspireddisorder.com. Go buy a Ray Taylor Show phone case. But the Groundhog Day, from top to bottom, just holds up so well. This movie, it's so good. And I watched, there was special features on it, and they were talking about how a lot of religious leaders and people in different faiths all kind of relate to this movie because it's about this guy. If you don't know, Bill Murray plays a weatherman who is this hot shit, this big shot in like a mid-market TV news, like local TV broadcasting. He has dreams of going to the big city, being a weatherman in New York. So he has ego. He's an asshole. And he's on project. He's sent out with his crew to go film Groundhog Day in, what is it? What is the name of the town? I'm blanking on the name of the town. Pensatawny, Puckatawny, Punxsutawney. I don't know. You know, you're yelling at. I just watched this movie and I didn't write it down for some reason. Now I'm blanking. Puxatawny, Phil. Anyway, he's going to a small town where they do this thing on Groundhog's Day where they bring the groundhog out, and particularly the guy that brings the groundhog out looks a lot like Bert Kreischer. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but he looks like a lot like the comedian Bert Kreischer. Or he could play the lookalike if Tom Segura wants to film another dance video. But yeah, he brings the thing out, and the local news, they're covering it. There's this new producer, Andy McDowell. She's super excited, super like she's not jaded. She loves her job, and Bill Murray's just like only thinking about the future, not present at all. He's just kind of an asshole to everybody. He's like, his ego is so overinflated for being just a mid-level weatherman. But then he gets slipped into this loop where every day is Groundhog's Day. And another thing that was interesting during the kind of special features of this movie, the writers were talking about how long they thought Bill Murray or Phil, I forget his last name, how long he's in this loop. And they were thinking like thousands of years. Because over time, he goes through all the things you would do. Like if nothing mattered, like what would you do if nothing matters? Like tomorrow, whether you die today, you survive today, you basically live the exact same day over and over again. If you're in a movie like Live, Die, Repeat, you figure out how to end the war against these robot invasions. But if you're Bill Murray and you don't know how it all ends, you're just stuck in this loop. Then he starts doing everything. I mean, pretty early on, he kind of like, I love when the eating part. I mean, come on. I could eat anything and like consume whatever, and then I wake up perfectly fine, no hangovers. If I OD on something, who cares? Like I would experiment. You would just experiment with everything, just to kind of see. Which I guess, I mean, this whole thing is like a metaphor for life. It's like life in itself. There's like no real point. There's no real reason for being. I mean, we find reason for being, but there's like, it's pointless. There's no, like, it's not some, I mean, depending on what you believe, whatever, but it's like nothing really matters. So it's, you know, a metaphor for like, how would you live your life? And over time, like he went through like all the selfishness and all the ego and all the kind of dark. It gets very dark. But then eventually he learns how to be like, just be a better person. Like eventually, like even before there's like this turn, he's like trying to manipulate everybody. And I know people like this where they're like fake. They're not really, they're not real. They're in every situation, they're just trying to manipulate the situation to their benefit to either look good or whatever. Meanwhile, they're an asshole. You know, they're just fake people. Everybody knows fake people. You know them. You see who if you ever know somebody who's real, like, and then you see them act completely different in public, like those are fake people. Those people are in like the mid part of the Groundhog Day of existence, right? They're still Bill Murray trying to manipulate Andie MacDowell's character into falling in love with him, which it doesn't work because she knows he's fake. So once he actually starts becoming a better person instead of just being this fraudulent where he's trying to memorize the things that she likes and kind of puts on a character of somebody that he thinks she likes, and then when she scratches the surface and sees that he's bullshit, she's out. And there's this whole thing about her being just over it, slapping him in the face, like him trying to like recreate moments, like these fake moments. It's just like it's weird when you see like watching this as an adult and seeing like how many adults I know that live that kind of, like they're playing a character. Like they're not, like a lot of Christians do that. A lot of like religious people where they're like conservative Christians really, where they behind closed doors, they shed the skin and they're like vulgar, horrible people, right? Not horrible, some horrible, some not, but they act differently when they're home or around their buddies than they do when they're in church or when they're at business. Like they have this facade of like everything's put together, but then behind the scene they're fake as shit, right? That's kind of this midway journey of Bill Murray's character. And then once he starts just making better choices to be just a slightly better person, how he can be helpful to people, how he can help just spread joy instead of just, when he started thinking of things other than himself, when he started having compassion for people and just try not doing anything. I mean, he did grand gestures, he did all these things, but it was just being like him spreading the most amount of love. Once he spread the most amount of love to everybody in this small town that he hated, that he just talked shit about everybody, but once he just did that, everybody loved him, which is something that he's probably never felt in his life, right? That's probably why he's so cynical. He's never really had love, because he is just this fake person. He was always just this fake person and never just was true to himself and just be nice to people. It's real easy. It's real easy, which is kind of the message of being a Christian. And a lot of religions is just being a nice person, treat everybody as you treat yourself. But a lot of people just like play that character, and then behind closed doors they're selfish and they don't give a shit. They're all about me, 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 me. They don't do for yourself. Now they're not all of them, for sure, not all of them, but there are some. Whereas a lot of them don't go to that place where they're just actually real people. And they're just nice people through and through, and they don't judge people, and they're all just about just leaving a situation in a better place than where you arrived at it. Like if you could just make things just 1% better, then you're on a path to good things. Whether it's like, your artwork, making it every time you sit down to do a piece of art to make it 1% better than it was before, like you're going to get better. If you are that way in your personal relationships, you're going to grow those in a positive way. And it's just, I don't know. I love this movie from top to bottom. It's hilarious. It gets dark. I appreciate kind of how it ends, where it's like he becomes like he lives the perfect day. He actually changed who he is as a person, and because of that, he's rewarded. Not rewarded. He's able to jump out of this loop after potentially thousands of years of being stuck on Groundhog's Day. And there was an alternate ending that I heard that Andy McDowell's character, waking up on that next day, they now are looped in together in an infinite day after Groundhog Day, where they both exist in the timeline. That was how one of the original alternate endings of the movie. From what I heard, I don't know how real that is. I just regurgitate shit. Groundhog's Day is amazing. Go watch it. I don't know where it's streaming. I own it, but I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. It's a classic for sure. 1993, especially if you're locked in quarantine. It's a good one. Bill Murray is the best. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Station House Coffee. Go to inspireddisorder.com/coffee to purchase single origin, small batch, premium coffee. It's brewed in Vermont, shipped direct to you. Follow Station House Coffee on Instagram and purchase Station House Coffee through inspireddisorder.com/coffee. Also, get $25 in device credit or service credit through Ting as your cell phone service provider. It's the same best coverage, same low rates, now with 3 coast-to-coast networks. Go to inspireddisorder.com/Ting to take advantage of this one-of-a-kind offer. Get $25 in credit when you sign up for Ting over at inspireddisorder.com/Ting. New episodes come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go purchase my artwork and merchandise for The Ray Taylor Show over at InspiredDisorder.com. Follow this show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!